So I need to add an outlet under a window in one of our 1947 units that are all masonry with plaster coating on them, so you can't run wires like you would behind drywall. So I got a bid from an electrician, and he wanted $350 to run a metal conduit all the way around the building and drill a hole under the window from the outside. And I didn't really want to do that. I didn't really want to pay that. So in this case, I'm going to be using the Legrand on-wall conduit system. And I will be running an outlet from under the window and connecting it to the existing outlet you see there. And we'll be running the conduit along the top of the baseboard. And overall, it's pretty low profile, and I think it looks reasonably well. And this whole thing cost me about $60. So let's get to it. So this is what comes in the box for what they call on the wall. So this is the NMW2-D. They do have an NMW2, which is called a starter box, but you'll notice most of the big box stores don't carry those. You can get them on Amazon if you go search for them. But the only difference is that on these boxes you have to take a utility knife and cut the back out here so that you can put it up here and get your starter unit and get the wire running along the wall. So that's what I got here. I just got two of those. I got some conduit and some corners there, and that's all we need. It was about, I think, $44 worth of stuff. So that's what we're going with here today. So there's a notch out on the bottom for different size conduits. And they tell you just to grab a pair of pliers and pinch them off, but I've had a couple of these break on me. So I take a utility knife and I score it along this inner one here, because that's what I'm gonna be, that's the size of the conduit that we're gonna be popping out the bottom of these. And so this will sit on top and the wires will come out the bottom and then cruise along the wall. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, just to show you what's going on and to highlight a couple of the challenges you might have, I've got the back plate cut out, and we're going to go ahead and put it on the, it's going to mount into the existing box. Now in this case, we're on masonry, and as often is the case with masonry, the boxes are recessed pretty far. They've done a half-inch skim coat along the lines. That's why you don't see brick. You see this sort of plaster face that they put on it. And they didn't account for that when they put the boxes in. This is super common. Anybody who ever deals with older brick buildings, you're going to run into this. So when we're done, the screw is going to go through here, through here, through here, and into the box. And that's what's going to mount the assembly to the wall. Unfortunately, they send you standard number 8 screws, which aren't even close to reaching back there. Now, I run into this type of thing in a number of different ways. So on my truck, I keep 2-inch and 1.5-inch number 8s, which I would recommend to anybody who's driving around and fixing things. It comes in handy. You know, you can get on Amazon a collection of sizes in a box. I love those little compartmentalized boxes. I have a bunch of them on my van. And so we're going to use this to go ahead and mount the entire assembly on there. Now you can see I've got my wires that we're going to run along the wall, and I've removed the outer sheathing. Technically, you could probably make it fit with the sheathing, but it's a whole lot easier to take the wire out. They come with little clips to keep the wiring in there before you put the faceplate on, and I'll show you that when I do it. It's a lot easier this way. Particularly, I'm running 12 gauge here for outlets instead of 14 gauge if you're running a light or something. So this is definitely easier. So let me get this put together and we'll go from there. All right, so we got it on there. Let me just show you real quick. In this case, I cut out the backing because it's a starter box, but this then goes on and it snaps in. There's 4 little channels. The wires go through the back. That mounts to the wall, Then the outlet sets on top of that, and your number 8 screw goes through the whole mess and into the electrical box, which is reseated behind the wall there. So we have our wires coming out the bottom. And next up is we're going to place the other box where it needs to go, mounted on the masonry. And we'll use the laser level to make sure it's at the exact same height, and we'll get it all settled in there, and then we'll put the channel in. Okay, so we're using the laser level to make sure I'm at the exact same height that the originating outlet is, and it's directly in the middle of my window. And then we're going to go ahead and notch out the bottom of this one where the wires are going to come up. Stick this here, and then I'm going to put some masonry anchors for these two and stick it right on the wall there. And then we'll go ahead and put the outlet and run our conduit. Okay, the channel comes in 2 pieces. So this is the back piece that goes against the wall. You'll be drilling holes in here and putting it into anchors. I think it says every 18 inches. And then this snaps over the top of it when you're done. So we're going to go ahead and put this back channel up along the top of the baseboard, and then run the wires through it and get our corner pieces on, and we should be able to thread everything together. So you can see I got the back channel up, and we've gone around to our new outlet over there, run the wire over there. So the next thing is to cut everything for the top channel. And one thing that might trip you up is on these corner pieces, this is our inside corner piece, you can see on here there's a little, about a 3/4, maybe a 1/4 inch slot that the top channel will slide into. So you're going to have to cut your top channel so that it slides under that bit when you have this on here. And it's the same thing for these angles. It's the same space. And it'll again slide into that channel and make a clean transition. So my recommendation is to use a PVC cutting tool like this. I cut this for PVC piping, but this makes much easier and cleaner cuts than using like a hacksaw, which is what they recommend. And that's not terribly easy to do and is more time consuming than it needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and measure these out and cut them up and see if we can wrap this up. All right, so we got everything buttoned up from to our new outlet underneath the window. Made our corners, snapped everything in. I'll probably go ahead and run a bead of painter's caulk along the top. These units are paintable and whatnot, but with the uneven walls that you find on these masonry plaster finishes, there's little gaps along the top. So I'll just run a quick bead along there to give it a nice finished look, and we're good to go to the next project.